From Science News, new species of ceratopsian dinosaur. From prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know. Now, let's get into the animal news of the day. Paleontologists have identified a new genus and species of Centrosaurine dinosaur from the fossilized remains found in the Judith River Formation in the Kennedy Coulee region, Montana, the United States. When it comes to the Judith River Formation, this specific formation covers different parts of southern Alberta, as well as, I believe, Saskatchewan, South Dakota, and Montana. And this region ranges from about 79 million years ago to about 75 million years ago during the Campanian stage of the late Cretaceous period. Named Lokiceratops rangiformis, the new species appeared at least 12 million years earlier than its famous cousin Triceratops and was the largest horned dinosaur of its time. Oh, well, this is good to hear. Also, considering it's a Centrosaurine, the larger species were Chasmosaurines, which is a separate group of the ceratopsian lineage. So you had also when it came to larger herbivores, you had the centrosaurs and the chasmosaurs. Triceratops is a chasmosaur. Wow. Well, look at his distinct frill and horn reconstructions, and he does have that distinct centrosaurin sort of displayed out to the side horn structure, but this is also something that you can see in certain species of Chasmosaur as well. And it is interesting. He's a Centrosaurin considering, yeah, he does look much more similar to Chasmosaurs. Let's see. Reconstruction of Loki Ceratops rangiformis, surprised by, oh, I didn't even see him. A crocodilian in the 78 million year old swamps of northern Montana. So yes, the Rocky Mountains at this point had just started forming. So at this point, there might have been certain hills, and the rest of the region was quite flat. And it was covered in swamps, floodplains. It wouldn't have been very dry and arid like today. They might have occasionally had snow, though. Loki Ceratops rangiformis lived in what is now Montana during the Cretaceous period some 78 million years ago. This species was 6.7 meters long, or about 22 feet in length, and weighed up to 5 tons. Wow, that is a large centrosaurin. Usually they're somewhere between 1.5 to 3 tons. So that's quite a miraculous increase in weight, making it the largest dinosaur from the group of horned dinosaurs called Centrosaurini ever found in North America. Now, it wasn't the only animal in this region. You also had the carnivores like Swornitholestes, which is a member of the Dromaeosauridae lineage of theropod dinosaurs and is a close relative of Dromaeosaurus itself, but it is specifically a member of the subfamily of Dromaeosaurs called Swornitholestini. And Sornitholestes was somewhere around 6 feet in length and could have weighed up to 50 pounds. It is very possible that these animals might have hunted in packs to take down smaller individuals of different species of ceratopsians or hadrosaurs at the time. Maybe even preyed on younger tyrannosaur individuals, not specifically Tyrannosaurus rex because it hadn't evolved yet, but animals such as Albertosaurus. Well, Albertosaurus has not been found at the Judith River Formation. It did live in Montana and Alberta at this time, like around 76 million years ago. But in terms of Judith River Formation, we found animals such as Gorgosaurus and Displeosaurus. It's very possible that Ornitholestes might have preyed on at least hatchlings. Let's see. Oh, so in this region, we also have the Pachycephalosaurs, but not the more well known individuals such as Homocephaly from Mongolia, as well as Pachycephalosaurus from the Hell Creek Formation of Montana, which dates to around like 68 to 66 million years ago. This is Coleopiocephaly, which was somewhere around a meter in length, or about 3.3 feet. This individual was also most likely an omnivore, mostly carnivorous, due to looking at the maxillary teeth of the back upper jaws, as well as the premaxillary teeth, and then the dentary of the bottom jaw. So these specific teeth are probably used for f- possibly hunting smaller species of dinosaurs or at least reptiles and amphibians, maybe even insects. But it does have that distinct dome that you find in most species of Pachycephalosaurs. It looks more similar, though, to a close relative of it called Stegoceras, which, despite its name, is not a member of the Stegosaur lineage of dinosaurs. It is a Pachycephalosaur. Um, and it was quite lean, like pretty much all of the Pachycephalosaurs. They were quite quick animals. Is there another one? Let's head back to. We'll come back to him in a second. Within the dinosaur ecosystems of the ancient island continent Laramidia, the ceratopsidae were geographically widespread and morphologically diverse, possessing highly variable cranial ornaments. So, this is including the different horn structures around their frill as well as their face, including horns and morphologically diverse periodocos- periodosquamosal frills. Two distinct clades within Ceratopsidae diverged by at least 83 million years ago. These are the long-nosed, long-frilled Chasmosaurinae and the round-nosed, relatively short-frilled Centrosaurinae. You could say, yes, that the Centrosaurs are technically much more shorter frilled in quote than the Chasmosaurs, but the thing is that let's hop back to him. Animals such as Mercury ceratops from the Judith River Formation have a very long, tall, rectangular shaped frill. And even probably the most famous of this group of chasmosaurs, or I guess this look, is the Pentaceratops from New Mexico. But Pentaceratops wouldn't evolve until somewhere around 74 million years ago. And Pentaceratops was also a bit larger. I believe it reached somewhere around 20-25 feet in length and probably weighed up to 4 tons, whereas Mercuryceratops was somewhere around 13 feet in length and possibly weighed close to a ton. It was quite heavy for its body length, probably around 8 to 9 feet in height. And these are just possibly Deinosuchus. Remember the Eosuchian lineage of crocodilomorphs in the background. Okay, so Centrosaurinae represent an ecologically important and diverse radiation of ceratopsids, reaching peak diversity in the Campanian between 83 and 70 million years ago. Technically, 70 million years ago is the Maastrichtian, but yes, this is true. Not just Centrosaurinae, but even the Chasmosaurs at this point. Historically known from abundant remains in Alberta, Canada, and Montana, the United States, discoveries over the past 2 decades have rapidly expanded our understanding of the group, particularly its geographic and morphologic breadth, with additional insights into Centrosaurine ontogeny. Though locally abundant in some localities in southern Alberta and northern Montana, centrosaurines were previously rare or poorly known from other regions of Laramidia. And that is true. I mean, many, especially when it comes to the centrosaurines, like Centrosaurus itself, it's quite well known in certain formations in Alberta due to the amount of individuals that were piled up on one another due to a massive flood event. But outside of these distinct regions from these catastrophes, centrosaurines outside of that part of Alberta, I mean, well, Canada in general, they tend to be quite rare, and that's where the chasmosaurs tend to dominate them. So it does look like so far the chasmosaurs were a much more successful group of ceratopsids and even ornithischians, you could say, at this point than the centrosaurs. So, oh, this is the skull of Lokiceratops. This is very well preserved. Mm, yes. Oh, yeah, and the distinct holes at the back of its frill. This is quite a common trait within different species of Centrus. Well, not just Centrosaurs, but even Chasmosaurs as well, like Chasmosaurus. And it's still a big debate as to why these distinct holes existed. It doesn't look like there might have been any blood vessels, I believe, occurring within this region. And also, the brain would have been focused towards the center of the face. So, inside here and not back here. So, might have just been completely covered with tissue. Oh, let's see. So this is wait. Yeah, so this is supposed to represent Judith Ceratops, which is named, or wait a second, I believe the Judith Formation was named after Judith Ceratops, which was around 16 feet in length and might have weighed just over a ton. And this animal had quite unique features, somewhat similar to what we're seeing in Loki Ceratops. However, I believe Judy Ceratops was a member of the Chasmosaur lineage of ceratopsians and not the Centrosaurs. And it does have a very distinct frill. Though some reconstructions of Judyceratops have shown it with having straight horns, but I believe they're much more positioned towards the side. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. The paleontologist discovered an associate skeleton of a mature individual of Lokiceratops rangiformis in 2019 in the Loki Quarry, which is part of the Judith River Formation. The Loki Quarry producing the new specimen lies on private land in the Badlands of Candy Coulee, north of the town of Rudyard in Hill County, northern Montana, the United States. Um, so let's take a look at some other animals. This is one of the larger species of hadrosaur within the area. This is Corythosaurus. And Corythosaurus was a member of the Lambeosaurinae lineage of hadrosaurs. And I believe of Lambeosaurinae, there's, oh, wait, no, I'm confusing it with Saurolophinae. But of Lambeosaurinae, you have animals such as Lambeosaurus, which is a closest relative to Corythosaurus. Um, see the picture. So these animals probably would have inhabited in herds of 30 to 40 individuals at certain points, and they would have simply fed on different species of ferns, flowers, possibly even certain semi aquatic plants within the region. They definitely would have inhabited the floodplains and would have had to watch out for the different species of tyrannosaur within the region, such as Daspletosaurus, Gorgosaurus, and in other regions, Albertosaurus. Well, I was just mentioning Tyrannosaurus. So here's specifically skeleton of the animal. You're looking at the crest structure, which has been well preserved, of Corythosaurus. It does look like this animal was capable, like many of the hadrosaurs that had different types of crests, but even ones that were possibly crestless, they would have created low frequency sounds. And these animals had the ability to walk on all fours as well as be bipedal, compared to certain members of Elasmaria, like Matabarosaurus from Australia. Let's see. So, Lokiceratops rangiformis had the largest frill horns ever seen on a horned dinosaur and lacks the nose horn that is characteristic among its kin. This new dinosaur pushes the envelope on bizarre ceratopsian headgear, sporting the largest frill horns ever seen in a ceratopsian. Really? It is? Huh. Oh, the largest frill horns. Okay, I was confusing that with the main horns in the front. Yeah, those are huge. Yeah, those are quite immense. That is very impressive. It's probably covered in a wide variety of color, not necessarily the horns, but the frill itself. Let's see. This these skull ornaments are one of the keys to unlocking horned dinosaur diversity and demonstrate the evolutionary selection for showy displays contributed to the dizzying richness of Cretaceous ecosystems. Yes, we have found a wide variety of um, even different crocodilomorphs within different late Cretaceous ecosystems, even though you go back further into the early Cretaceous. Now, oh, just here's a preserved specimen of Corythosaurus. It's one of the more well studied species of hadrosaur. Some cases, I'd say even better than Montosaurus. And Montosaurus, though, wouldn't show up in these different formations until somewhere around 75 million years ago. And now here we have a member of the Panelopsorinae lineage of ankylosaurs. And the Panelopsorinae lineage first popped up somewhere around 155 million years ago during the Jurassic. And this is Edmontonia, which was somewhere around 15 feet in length and could have weighed up to 2,000 pounds. And this animal, it was debated for a while as to the whole osteoderm spike structure of this animal and where these specific spikes would have occurred. Here is a preserved specimen of an individual, and it was actually until relatively recently that they were finally displayed like this, which is odd considering of this specific specimen. Edmontonia would have probably fed on different species of aquatic plants as well as different types of flowers, maybe even small conifers. It was mainly a low browser, probably didn't ever, or at least rarely, reared up on its hind legs to reach higher up into taller species of shrubs or even trees. So mostly probably just focused on ferns. And if it lived in herds, they were probably of relatively small numbers, maybe somewhere between 5 to 10 individuals, like what you see in southern white rhinos. Not as common as what you would find in different species of hadrosaurs. And I say this because animals and chylosaurs in general, unless there are certain instances where they're buried, um, they tend to be quite rare. So that's why many times dinosaur documentaries they tend to be displayed as solitary or lonely animals. Now, this is a member of the Eosuchian lineage of crocodilomorphs, which the Eosuchians first evolved around 130 million years ago during the early Cretaceous period. This is Deinosuchus hatchery. And this species of crocodilomorph is a relative of today's crocodilians, but it doesn't belong to Crocodiliae. There have been different debates as to how large Deinosuchus is. Some claim that they could range between 40 to 50 feet. Others claim they could be somewhere between 33 to 40 feet and possibly weigh somewhere around anywhere between 6 to 10 tons, in some cases, much larger. But I'd say the minimum for Deinosuchus would be about 33 feet or 10 meters and weighing somewhere around 6 to 7 tons. It would have preyed on most animals within the region. Not in this formation, but I believe in others. There have been certain species of sauropod that have been discovered. Deinosuchus was definitely capable of taking down smaller individuals, and definitely a 3-ton tyrannosaur for a full-grown individual would have been very simple prey. And this is supposed to represent Deinosuchus hunting in Alberta source, but it's a bit of a question as to whether or not Alberta source might have even coexisted with Deinosuchus because it looks like Deinosuchus, is it Deinosuchus or Albertosaurus? I no, my bad. I'm confusing with another tyrannosaur. This probably did occur with different Albertosaur individuals. Okay, we think that the horns on these dinosaurs were analogous to what birds are doing with displays. They're using them either for mate selection or species recognition. Lokiceratops rangiformis coexisted with three other Centrosaurine dinosaurs: Wendyceratops horncensis, Albertoceratops nesmoi, and Medusaceratops loki, and one Chasmosaurine, Judiceratops tigris. It's unheard of diversity to find five living together. Well, what's also interesting about this is that we have several different species of Centrosaurine in the same area, and only, um, or at least many or fewer species of Chasmosaur, because this isn't all of these ceratopsians that have been found within the Judith River Formation. There have been at least 11 different species, including these individuals that have been found in this formation. So it is interesting to see this. It's unheard of. Oh, okay. Similar to what you could see on the plains of East Africa today with different horned ungulates. That's actually interesting that's comparing it to that because um, there are different species of ungulates, you could say antelope in this instance, within Africa that actually belong to different families, which is what we're seeing with the Ceratopsians as well. Um, well, okay, if we're referring to ungulates, that's simply a two-toed animal. So anything like a bison, an antelope, a deer, a giraffe, those are all ungulates. Unlike the broad range of large wild animals that roam the US West today, such as elk, these ancient animals were geographically limited. That's because also at this point in time, if we're talking somewhere around 76 million years ago, the Western Interior Sea had still cut North America in half. Now, as the Cretaceous were to continue, it would gradually shrink. But even by 67 million years ago, there was still a sliver of that ancient sea left. But much of Canada, I believe, at that point had already been completely unified. And no, the carnivores were not unified with each other, just referring to the land. The discovery of Lokiceratops rangiformis provides evidence that these species evolved rapidly within a small area, a process sometimes seen in birds. Oh, and by the way, there's one more individual. Oh, there's just another overall reconstruction of Dinosuchus. It does look like it had more somewhat of an, say, alligator sort of look compared to a crocodile. The Dinodon, which is a species of tyrannosaur that existed within the Judith River Formation and coexisted with Gorgosaurus and Dyspleosaurus as well. The interesting thing is, despite reaching a close length to the other species, especially Gorgosaurus, this animal was only about 27 feet in length and might have weighed somewhere around 1.5 to 2 tons. It was a much more lightly built animal. I might even be overestimating that, especially by the 2 ton weight limit. But thing is, it was probably taking on smaller species of hadrosaur, maybe not even like ever deciding to mess with animals such as Edmontonia or definitely Deinosuchus. Probably not hunting the sauropods, but focusing on also smaller species of ceratopsian as well. Let's see. By the time Triceratops came onto the scene 12 million years later, regional differences had been homogenized into just two species of horned dinosaurs from Canada to Mexico, possibly in response to a more homogeneous climate. The study shows that dinosaur diversity has been underestimated and presents the most complete family tree of horned dinosaurs to date. It's mentioning that the dinosaur variety in the region has been um, underlooked because for decades now, it's been debated whether or not towards the last 40 million years of the Cretaceous that the variety of dinosaurs continued to dwindle as it came closer towards the mass extinction event. And there have been a wide variety of studies on this, and I'd say an equal amount show evidence for this occurring, and then the other amount showing that it's this didn't really occur. So um, it's still debated amongst certain paleontologists that hadrosaurs, tyrannosaurs, even the sauropods were dwindling. Some say no, there's actually evidence for them increasing. Now, let's see. Lokiceratops rangiformis helps us understand that we only are scratching the surface when it comes to diversity and relationships within the family tree of horned dinosaurs. Yeah, it'd be good to know. This it's really good to hear. We found another species of Centrosaurine, and considering it's not very common to find these species. Anyway, let me know what your favorite species of ceratopsian is within the comments. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.